Why does it seem like the law of attraction works for all of these people that talk about it here on YouTube, but it's not working for you? We're going to get into it today, and I'm going to tell you exactly why it's not working for you and how you can make it work for you. The law of attraction is exactly that. It is a law. It's not a principle or an idea. It is a law. It's working for you, whether you know it or not. You just need to know how to manipulate it to work in your favor, and that's what we're going to get into for the next few minutes. I'm Jim Yaw, and I have found peace, purpose, and prosperity in my own life, and I know you can find it in yours, and I can help. If that sounds like something you want more of, I invite you to subscribe below. There's a link below if you want to talk about working with me one-on-one. So we're going to look today at what Dr. Joe Dispenza says and what the late, great Wayne Dyer had to say about the law of attraction and energetic vibration and how it works in our lives. Now, if you are like me, for a long time, there were a lot of things in my life that I did not seem to understand how to attract. And I'm still not attracting everything in my life that I know I can attract. And when I'm not, I at least understand why I'm not doing it and what needs to change. And that's what we're going to talk about. Dr. Joe Dispenza says it this way: there is an energetic field that permeates this universe. He calls it the field, in fact. Different people have different names for this, the ether. There's lots of ways different people look at it, but the truth is there's an unseen force that permeates all, 99.99999% of all physical seemingly matter is empty space. Did you know that? When you break it down to the molecular level, most things that we're looking at is empty space. And Dr. Joe basically says that's the field, and there's a vibrational energy that travels through it. And he is not the only one. Listen to Esther and Abraham Hicks and what they say about it. Dr. Wayne Dyer says this. So very many great teachers understand this principle. And this is where the law of attraction is based. When you begin to understand how to use that field to your advantage, you are able to attract the things into your life that you want and you desire and that you love, and you can absolutely change it all. And it's a lot simpler than you might think. Now, I've read most of Dr. Joe's books. I've watched tons of Dr. Joe's videos, done tons of Dr. Joe's meditations, but for some reason, the way he kind of puts things took me a while to wrap my mind around. What Dr. Joe basically says is to create a new reality, or a new personal reality, as he would say. You got to create a new personality. And he says it's basically four ways you do that. You have to change your thoughts, and that'll change your feelings, and that'll change your behaviors or your actions, and that'll change your beliefs, which ultimately, all those working together, you change your identity, your personality, who you are, how you think, how you behave, and what you attract into your life. And he says, kind of, if you dig down in that, the deepest part of that principle is to take a new thought. You think in a certain way in your subconscious, which does basically about 95% of your thinking anyway. The things you're bringing into your life, you're not even aware of it because it's happening on a subconscious level. And you take new thoughts and you reprogram those old thoughts until they become part of your subconscious. And Dr. Joe basically says the power in this is when we wrap those thoughts with a strong positive emotion. When we start to get to a place in our life that we can say, yes, this is the life I want, and I can feel myself living it right now as if it has already occurred. This is what any teacher that understands these principles will teach you about this law that is the law of attraction. That's how the universe works, and you've just got to plug in to the divine energy, source energy, God energy, call it whatever you want to, in the universe, to begin to see your life go back to what you're really designed to be. And that is in perfect peace, perfect abundance, perfect everything. And you can experience that life today. So Dr. Joe says it's about thought and it's about feeling, and wrapping those two things together and attracting the life we want. And honestly, that was always hard for me. By the way, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you a bonus on what really changed it all for me. And it all came from another doctor, Dr. David Hawkins, that was actually a psychiatrist. And he really helped me to take it to a whole new level. But here's what is going on. Dr. Wayne Dyer began to help me to understand this at a deeper level. In certain areas of my life, I seem to be able to attach these new ways of thinking about myself and wrap them in a new positive feeling as if it had already occurred, and to put myself in maybe the most important part of this, a state of non-resistance, to where I'm not wishing I had more, or wishing this was my life, or wishing I was here, or wishing this was happening, but beginning to feel that it's already a done deal and it just happens and it's flowing into me. So I was able to do this in my sales job, because my sales job, as I've moved more towards what I'm doing with you right now, personal growth coaching, became the priority and the passion of my life. My sales job just was my bread on the table. It kind of faded to the backdrop. And when it did that, that resistance went away. I got in a state of non-resistance about it, and I just began to experience sales like I'd never experienced them. In fact, sales are kind of measured, especially in the car industry where I work, month to month. And this month alone, without even trying, and I'm not saying I'm lazy, I'm a diligent worker and all that, but without going in on days off and grinding and doing the things a lot of car salespeople do, without doing any of that, this month I sold 32 cars, and that's pretty good depending on the size of your dealership. The sales guys will tell you. And it wasn't hard for me. I've made multiple months, I've shared with y'all before, over $10,000 a month in that industry without trying, because I was able to let all that go. I had that positive thought about, I can do this, it's easy for me. I had that positive emotion about, this is just reality, I'm abundant, I make good money, I'm taken care of. But that's not even my passion. And that's kind of the secret. I was able to let go of that and have non-resistance to it. Now, here's how Wayne Dyer helped me put this all together. Wayne helped me to really understand it, because Wayne says it like this. He's a little bit more on the spiritual side, and Joe's a little more on the science side. Wayne says we come from divine source energy. That's what we have always been. That's what we will always be. We're part of this ever expanding universe, and we're fully connected to the divine source that powers and drives and fills it all. And what happens when we come into this body and we live in this planet and on this planet for our number of years, however long we're here, we slowly forget that. We slowly kind of get away from who we are and what we are, and beliefs get programmed into us, and life starts to happen to us, and we begin to believe what we see, not what we feel and what we know at our nature. Like Joe would say, we get away from that positive feeling about what we can do and what we can be, and that law of attraction and how we attract the things that we truly believe and think and feel in our heart. We get away from the goodness of all that, and we forget that we're from a place that there is no limits, there's no lack, there's only abundance. Divine energy, God energy, source energy is ever expanding. That's why the universe is ever expanding. It's ever abundant. I'm out here at Lake Michigan today, and Lake Michigan runs all the way from Chicago all the way up into what we call the UP in Michigan. I drove half of Lake Michigan on a vacation a while back. It took me about 4 hours to drive halfway up the distance of the lake. I could come in here every day, all day, with dump trucks and just fill them with water out of Lake Michigan, and I would never exhaust it. There's plenty of water here. That's the way the universe is. It's absolutely abundant. And what Wayne Dyer says is, when we begin to replug in to that abundance, when we begin to get plugged back in to who we are at our core, we're limitless. Nothing is impossible with God, is what the scriptures say. When we plug into what Jesus understood, that all things are possible with God, that you can do anything when you're divinely fully connected. There's nothing off the table. When you get at that place, it puts you in Joe's positive emotion. It puts you in his new thinking that you wrap around with that, and it puts you in that non-resistance that lets it happen. The way Wayne helped me with this was, I was reading in his book, Excuses Be Gone, and he basically said, do you think God ever wakes up and says, how am I going to make today different than yesterday? Do you think God ever wakes up and basically says, what if I run out of money? What if I run out of time? What if I run out of this? Do you think God ever wakes up and says, what if this goes wrong? No. God just is. God just exists and continues to exist in absolute perfection, abundance, unlimited supply, unlimited love, unlimited connection with all that is, me and you, all the way down to the bugs crawling around on the ground on this beach. God just is. And when we plug into that divine source and we realize that we just are as well, that we exist eternally and we're only bound by what we set in our mental limits that we're bound by, that opened it up for me. And it helped me to see that the things that I'm not experiencing in my life, that I'm not attracting, are due to the law of attraction. Just like my sales job, I attracted those great things and those great numbers and that ease, just like I attracted that, because that is the law. That's the way it works. I put a signal out into the field, as Joe would call it, and I attracted that to myself. When I believe that I can't get enough views on YouTube, I can't be at the level I want to be in growth coaching or whatever it might be for you, when I begin to believe those things are true for me because I'm putting them out in the universe. And I'm learning to let go in every area in my life. Do I have it together? No. I still struggle with it. I still have times that it is a struggle, and it shouldn't be for me, because there's no struggle, there's no lack. There's only abundance, there's only overflow, there's only continuous creation and absolute possibility when you're fully connected to your source. So I want to challenge you today in your life to take a really close look. Maybe tell me in the comments, what do you feel like is impossible in your life today? Just be honest about it. I like what Esther Hicks says. We don't know what we want until we know what we don't want. When the don't wants come into your life, she says, shoot up a rocket of desire for what you do want that is opposite of the thing you don't want. It's there to teach you the life you want. What would you say you don't want today? Put it in the comments and shoot up a rocket of desire that's opposite of that don't want with what you do want, and just believe you have it. Start to think that you're worthy of it. Start to think that you can do it, because nothing's impossible. You're unlimited. You're connected to the divine source that sources it all, fuels it all, pushes it all out. Tell yourself that. Think in a new way. Feel that as if it's already occurred, and let go of the resistance you have to it. Now, what does Dr. David Hawkins have to do with this? It's that last little statement there, let go of resistance. Dr. Hawkins talks about in all of his books, basically, how the most powerful principle in your life that can work for you is to learn to let go of anything that is holding you back from living your full life. I've got some other videos. I'll try to tag one below if I can remember to do that here a little later today, that will show you exactly a process of how to let go. But basically, you've got to let those negative emotions and feelings and thoughts rise up in you. Don't push them down. Don't repress them. Don't suppress them. Don't resist them. Let them rise up. Let them come up. Feel them. Don't judge them. Don't do any of that. Just let them rise up and let them depart out of your body, out of your soul, out of your spirit, out into this universe, and you will free up the energetic channel, energetic, I can't say that today, energetic channel within and without, and you'll connect yourself fully to your divine source, who can do all and be all, and there is no limits to what you can do, to what you can be, and who you're going to become. My challenge today is go be your best self, and really know deep down you already are.